Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is Three Block Theater, and I'm here to ask a very simple and important question if you are a Star Wars fan, and that is, did Rose Tico deserve better? Right? I mean, that's the question. Did Kelly Marie Tran's Rose Tico deserve better in the Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker saga finale? That's a whole jumble of words right there, but that's a question that people have been asking. In fact, they've been asking it quite a bit over here on Twitter. We can see here that it's currently trending pretty high. It's currently trending pretty high. People saying here, you goddamn right. Let's get people talking about it. Like Rose Tico got 1 minute and 16 seconds of screen time in TROS after punching through her first Canto bite, saving what she loves and being a spark of hope. She got 1 minute and 16 seconds. 1 minute, 16 seconds, right? Kelly Marie Tran got 1 minute and 16 seconds of screen time in The Rise of Skywalker. I didn't know that it was that low. I didn't know that it was that low. And I find it really interesting that people are standing for her as much as they are. Not to say that she's a bad person. She's not by any stretch of the imagination. I have nothing against Kelly Marie Tran. I think she's a fine actress. And I think she just ended up getting caught up in a situation that was far outside of her control. And she was never part of the plan. And you could tell that going in. Let's see here. Cassandra says, Rose quickly became one of my favorite characters in The Last Jedi, and her microscopic screen time in The Rise of Skywalker was really disappointing. I love her and wanted to see more. Let's see here. They could have written her out completely, but they didn't. It's nothing against the actress or her ethnicity. Her character just wasn't necessary. And Tribbles here kind of calls it, right? He kind of calls it where it should be. They could have written her out completely. They could have said Rose died off screen. They could have gotten rid of her. I mean, all things considered, J.J. Abrams was kind of stuck with her, and maybe there was some kind of like obligation because of the harassment that Kelly Marie Tran received online. And I don't even really know where all that came from. I know there were a lot of people in Comicsgate and the Fandom Menace that have taken to attacking her for the last 2 years, and I don't quite understand why. I mean, it's like not her fault the character was terrible, but they really like to make an example out of that. Especially Ethan Van Sciver doing a video where he was literally tearing the doll apart, her toy apart. It's like, okay, man, I get it. You're sexually frustrated, but Jesus Christ, back off a bit, right? So you have things like that. And then let's see here. Y'all, we don't deserve Kelly after the backlash she received, yet she stood her ground only to be sidelined again. Yvonne here says, please shut up about your notching of one character in Star Wars movie that was never meant to be the lead in the story. Quit crying, people. It's only a movie. I think Yvonne's got a point there. I do. I think Yvonne has got a hell of a point there when you look at this. I mean, people, they're talking about it. They're going on. It's going. I mean, look at this here. It's people talking about it. This is a big one here. Lavender here says she embodied love and hope in TLJ and taught us all one of the most quintessential Star Wars lessons we can learn. That's saying here that's how we're going to win, not by fighting what we hate, by saving what we love, and then only to get totally sidelined, just friend zoned in the next movie. Like, oh my God, that was. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was laughing my ass off at that pretty hardcore. When I'm watching the movie, because there was the Road to Resistance or something, whatever that book was, and that book came out. And it ended up like just, basically saying like Finn goes, no, me and Rose, we just homies. We friends, we cool. Right. And then in Rise of Skywalker, they're like, we're going on a mission. And then Finn's like, hey, Rose, why don't you come with us? And she's like, Leia wants me to stay here. Okay. Like we might need your expertise in freeing slave dog horses. And it's funny too, because where they went on their journey put them in league with horses. They found horses, and Rose's entire skill set could have been used in that moment, right? Like, oh, you all have horses. Well, we happen to have an equestrian lover right here. Perhaps you guys can have a conversation, right? Jana and Rose can have a conversation. And then it turns into like the Bechdel test. Did it pass it? Because they're going to be talking about Finn. Because Finn was going to get his own love triangle, but then J.J. Abrams is like, no nookie for you, sir. They could have done that, too. They could have put Finn. Look, here's the thing, man. I'll be honest. This is me being legit. When it comes to Rose Tico, let's break down the character. People say she's useless. She's actually not useless. I have no issue with Rose Tico as a character at all. I've never had an issue with Rose Tico. My problem with The Last Jedi came from how these characters were used, right? Like Admiral Holdo, for example. I didn't really care for her because we never got any time with her. So we never got any time to like to fall in love with the character. And the same kind of went with Rose Tico. Like there was nothing there to fall in love with, but there was also nothing there to really like hate. She's an idealist in a war. She's an optimist in a war. And that is something that I feel like was fine. You know, we need more of that because there was so much cynicism and negativity up on the upper decks between Poe and Holdo that having the optimism and the gumption to try to get stuff done underneath, I actually quite liked. I just wish they didn't go to Canto Bight. I wish they just didn't derail the whole story by going to Canto Bight. And it's not her fault. It's Rian Johnson. So that's how I view it. That's how I view Rose Tico's character. She is a good character that got very bad things to do. And I was kind of wondering what was going to happen in The Rise of Skywalker. Were they going to give her more to do? And apparently there's deleted scenes. There's deleted scenes. And I do want to talk about this in another video because there were deleted scenes that between her and Daisy Ridley. Right. They have this article here that just popped up. Kelly Marie Tran was excited for Rose and Rey to interact, but those scenes don't exist. I think they do exist. I think they were just put on the cutting room floor. You know, there was a lot there apparently with this movie that they shot that they just never put into the movie. And a lot of people have been asking for like a 30-minute extended cut, like BVS, in order to really kind of flesh out the story. And I don't know if we're ever going to see a specialized edition. JJ's kind of said nothing on that matter, but Rose, you know, we could have used more Rose. She had there was a moment there at the end when like Finn's like, no, we're not leaving. And then Rose is all like, right. And you're like, oh, are we going to like, is she going to stop his sacrifice again? Right. Is she going to stop his sacrifice? Is she going to roll on up and just knock him out of the way of a portable Death Star laser that's going to blow the hole in a rebel base blast doors? I mean, that was, you know, like that was a good sacrifice. She shows up and just stops it, right? She almost dies saving this guy that she at this point basically expresses love for if she just met him like, you know, 20 hours earlier, if not even less than that. And then of course what you have is basically like him going like, nah, we just friends, dog. And even in this movie, man, she does get kind of cock blocked by Finn, because Finn and Jonna were kind of like the two that were going at it, right? They were kind of setting those two up a little bit. And I know some people don't like that. They think that it's stereotypical to have the black lead with another black female lead. And I kind of get it. Like I kind of thought that too when I first started seeing all the ads. Now you want my opinion when it comes to the Finn and Rose romance, right? Like, yeah, she got done dirty by that. She did. Because they'd already established that, like, you know, she clearly likes him, and then he's like, nah. And that should have been a factor in this. That should have been a thing, you know, like her showing up once again to save him. Because I think Finn and Rose would have probably made a good couple, if I'm being honest with you. You know, I think they would have been a good couple. I think they were matched pretty well together. They just didn't have anything good to do. And so I think in the relationship department, that's where Rose Tico got screwed over. Not in anything else, because there was no real need for her. She didn't have the dynamic that the chemistry that the other core cast had. And that was one of the biggest complaints coming out of The Last Jedi is everyone was separated. You know, Finn and Rose went to Canto Bight. Poe tried to do a mutiny with you know, Carrie Fisher's daughter, Rey and R2, and you know, Chewie all went over to go find mopey ass Luke, and everyone was kind of separated for a while, and they didn't really come back together. In this movie, you could tell that they had been together for a while, and there was a lot of that camaraderie, a lot of that familial bond, which again is one of the reasons why I think the movie's doing as well as it is because of that familial bond and that chemistry that brought people together. And, you know, while they didn't get everything they wanted, in their mind, it's good enough. And so, no, Rose Tico never was a part of that. She was never part of that core dynamic. Had she been introduced in The Force Awakens, it would be an entirely different story. But Rian Johnson shoehorned this character in to an already bloviated story that really went nowhere. And it's not to the fault of the actress, because the character had some interesting elements about her. It was just she was never given the playtime. Now, here's the thing. If Disney came in and said, look, we want to do a Rose Tico Disney Plus show, I would watch it. I mean, for one, I'll watch anything Disney Plus Star Wars because that's just going to happen. I pay for the service, I'm going to watch it. But I would be interested to see where they went with it. If they brought back the actress that played her sister, and gave them like the Tico Sisters show, and it was a prequel, that could be something that's fascinating. Their experiences leading up to the start of The Last Jedi, that could be something that's fascinating. But they could also sit there and pull from her in between the events of The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. And there's a Rose Tico comic, isn't there? I believe there's a Rose Tico comic, right? I don't know, because they could do a lot with the character ancillarily. And they gave Rose Tico her own comic book. Let's see here. Star Wars: The Age of Resistance. Rose Tico got her own thing. That's cool, I guess, right? They want to make sure that Rose has got it here. She's got her own little thing. Saying here, my hero, sisters, friends, co-pilot, Rose and Paige Tico were everything to each other until the First Order tore their world apart. See the bond between Rose and Paige before it was forever broken. Now that's the thing. If they're doing that, that doesn't bother me at all. Like that doesn't bother me at all. Like that would be something that's kind of fascinating. They've done a lot of these comic books, and if they were to put them together and make them their own thing, I think that would be kind of fun. I do. I think that would be kind of fun. So again, it's kind of a weird place to be. Rose deserved better, but she deserved better in The Last Jedi, not The Rise of Skywalker. She got more screen time in The Last Jedi, sure, 100%, but it wasn't good screen time. It wasn't worthy screen time. It was shoehorned in to an already bad plot. And when JJ was basically stuck with having to bring her in, he could have just written her out completely and saved himself a minute 16 of screen time. But at the end of the day, he chose to find a way to include her everywhere that he could. And I think he deserves a bit of credit for that. She was never the main course of this meal. She was always a garnish that people just happened to like. Some people did, so they gave her a comic book. And if they want to do a Disney Plus show where it's her and Paige and it's them on their home world and going into the rebellion together, or to the resistance together, sorry, and doing that, I think that could be fascinating. And only in regards to, for one, keeping Kelly Marie Tran acting, giving us more with Rose that people actually like, and building up the character into something that people actually find enjoyable. And then giving us more backstory about maybe Admiral Holdo as well, because I know they came from her ship. In the Last Jedi novelization, it said that. So again, we could actually find a way to expand on The Last Jedi a bit more. And I don't know how many of you guys would actually want that. I don't think many of you would. But where I'm at personally, and I'm going to end it after this because I've been rambling for a while, but the way I view it is, when you look at someone like Rose Tico and someone like Admiral Holdo and what was added into The Last Jedi, it was done in a way that was meant to subvert expectations, and fans reacted negatively. And for 2 years, we've been fighting over that. For 2 years, we've been fighting over that nonsense. So if they were to go back and find a way to expand upon those stories to somehow maybe make The Last Jedi feel less isolated from its predecessors, and really kind of bring it all in and do it in a way that works, and potentially make it better, I think it could soften that dark spot that we have seen. Maybe I'm alone. Maybe I'm alone on this one. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on it? They'll be fascinating. I have a feeling we're going to see quite a bit of F Rose Tico in the comment section. And I mean, that's your choice, man. I always want good characters to be good characters, and I think she got screwed over in The Last Jedi, and that just meant she was going to be screwed over in The Rise of Skywalker. Anyway, if you guys made it this far, do me a solid. Type in Rose Tico in the chat, and so I know. And have yourself a great day, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and peace out.